Hello and welcome to the August 2024 update from Clydebridge Station, and I sincerely hope that you all enjoyed yourself at the Coupon Model Railway show held at the Corn Exchange in mid-July. I certainly had a great time, and I hope you also, if you didn't get a chance to visit, then obviously don't worry, I've got my video up there of the show. The August 2024 update is going to concern itself with the replacement of platforms 1 and 2. I think we can all agree that this is absolutely rubbish how I've put these together the first time. And that's what's going to be the main thrust of this month's programme. We're going to be replacing these. I'm going to be taking each one up, and I've got new scale model scenery platforms to put in. I'll also be adding street furniture to the platforms, although I'm going to have to work out how I'm going to do the station name boards. I've got some food for thought there on how I'll actually approach that. The lights will be going back in as well, although this time I'm going to have to drill the holes to put them in. So there's quite a few things I've got to do this month, and unlike my previous effort where I rushed everything, this time I'm going to take my time with it. In addition to that, I'm going to be installing dropper wires on platforms 1 and 2, and whilst this platform bit is out, and I'm going to actually install them onto platform 3 here as well. This is part of a major rebuild of the station, of course, which will see the concourse getting rebuilt as well, but that'll be much later next year. You can see it's definitely needing done. And I've got a little cunning plan as to how I'm going to surface it when I come to redo it, by the way. But that's for later on. That's where the main focus is going to be this month. Now, a lot of the work is going to be done off camera, and a lot of the work is going to take time to do. But I intend to take my time in doing it so I can get it done properly this time. It all needs replacing, as you can see. That's from when I took up the old track. As usual, there'll be the regular shout outs to everybody that I would like to give a shout out to. And I'm sorry if I can't give a shout out to your particular layout, but please do not worry. There's that many layouts out there on YouTube, it's impossible to give a shout out to everybody. But the two that I always give a shout out to at the start of the videos are Dean Park Station and Everard Junction. The guys that run those two layouts, David Watson, Richard Warren, are the two who got me back into modelling in the first place back in 2018. And my third shout out obviously goes to my good friends at Wrangler, the clothing company that I'm an ambassador for, wrangler.com, and that'll take you to the appropriate website in your territory. So we're going to get started. The first part is to take up all of this, is to replace all of this, and that's what we're going to be doing first. So if you're ready for the journey, all aboard and enjoy the programme. And any comments, queries, suggestions, pop them in the comments box below. For the making of the platforms for platforms 1 and 2, this is the stuff that I've bought, and by the way, links to all these are in the description below. I've got the island platforms, and I'm using the long ones. There is a shorter 168mm version, but I'm using the long ones because that's what I've already got. You get 2 in a pack, so I've got 2 packs. That's for the end of the platforms, the island ramps. Pack of 2, I actually only need 2 on the layout anyway, so the second one will come in useful when I do platforms 3 and 4. This is the platform surfacing. Now this one here is TX225 Oscar, and it's a different design because it doesn't have the yellow line on it, which is correct now for the period that my layout is set in. Got 2 sets of that, 5 in a pack, and that should do me for platforms 1 and 2. And we have these here. This is Tango X-Ray 244 Oscar Oscar, which is the red brick platform walls. That's what goes on this part here. I'll also be using them on the head walls. That's at the end of the platforms, behind the buffer stops. I'll be using them on that. There's quite a lot in there. We'll get to use those later on, but what I'm going to do is show you the way to make one of these, the Long Island straight platform, Lima X-Ray 402 Oscar Oscar, and I'll also put up in the top right hand corner now for you, should just be going up there, the link to our live build of these by Justin Noble. He built the single-sided platform. Now, it's the same principles apply. The only difference is mine is has got the ledges on both sides. Justin's was building a single-sided one, so it's not an island platform, like a flank platform as it were. So it's got a ledge on the one side, but it's the same principles. But anyway, I'll get the packet open and I'll tell you what we're going to need. Now, a couple of tools that you'll need for this will be, I'm using laser cut kit glue, and I'm also going to be using a little jam jar with a piece of damp tissue in there, and I've also got on here the nozzle that will go into that damp tissue. Once you're finished with that, take up the stick. You can use a syringe like what you get at Boots the Chemist and flush through the nozzle so it's ready for the next time, so that helps keep it clean. Be very careful when you're dealing with this, because there's some small bits in here which are easy to lose. We'll get this out and opened up, and I appreciate it'll be difficult to see with the camera angles, but we'll do what we can. Now, these are the top bits that your platform surfaces will go on to. That's sheet 3. We'll be using them much later on, because I'm going to explain to you once I've got the platform base built how it works, how I'm going to do it. And I've also got here my instructions. Platform tops, and I've got the platform sides. The first thing to remember is that these instructions will come with the platform ramp assembly. Don't worry about those now, but keep a hold of them. What you'll have to do is to release these and just simply release them like that. I'm only going to release the one now, or rather the one set. And that's the first one out. And the second one out. So these will form the two side walls. And then what you would do is you've got here, this is sheet 1 by the way, and I don't know how well the camera will pick all this up, but there's little arrows on the top that show you where the top is. That's repeated on here. So it's a little thing, and it means it keeps you right up on where you go. So glue the sections together to form a big H, and it says ensuring all the surfaces, all the arrows are pointing up the way, upwards. So it's always a good thing to have a double check to make sure. Goes on there. I'll release another one. Now, when Justin Noble was building the prototype kit, one of the things he done was he put these round holes in. That's to allow cables to go through, but apparently it also for some reason makes it stronger. I'm like, Justin, I don't know why, so if somebody can explain to me why it is that a piece with circles in it is stronger, round holes in it is stronger than a piece without round holes in it, in solid, please let me know. It would be quite interesting. Now, repeat the same process for the other two bits. After I've put this part on, that'll go in there, but I'll give the glue a few seconds to properly set in, and then I'll add the other two bits on, and then the two bits slot in at the end, and then after we've done that, we'll get on and have a look at what's next. Now, the sharp-eyed amongst you'll also notice that one of the pieces, and I'll just carefully show you this, is a solid piece at the end. Now, for me that doesn't actually matter too much, but it may matter for some people. I don't know why it's been done like that, but anyway. I'll get on and make the rest of this up, and then I'll show you what we do next. Now that's been given some time to dry, and I have checked it and it all looks perfectly flush and is ready to accept our platform base. However, what we're going to do now is put the strip on here. There we go. And this is what you'll need for that. I've cut off one length of this platform wall. We get Yoo-hoo glue. Now, the way Justin Noble done this was he just simply, don't even need to squeeze the tube that much, if at all. You let gravity run its course. Now, the beauty of using Yoo-hoo glue, by the way, is that it gives you you let that go off for a few seconds. Oh, missed a bit. Is that it lets you get the glue on properly, and you'll be able to have it'll dry and you'll be able to adjust it if need be. Now, the way it's got to go on is exactly like that, and you can see here I'm running my finger along there and smoothing it out, and I'm also adjusting it where necessary. I know that there'll be ballast covering over this eventually. I don't know how well the camera picks that up, but there you go. Now that was cut using a craft knife on a cutting mat. I've got one to do here on the other side, and then we'll get on to the other part of this challenge. Now that'll involve the matching the platform base sides. Now, what I'll do is I'll just show you what I mean by that. Is at the moment, if I put that on like that, I won't stick it, it's not stuck down yet, but you need something to cover over the edges there. And that's what is also included in that kit with the platform walls. I'll get a platform wall done on that side, and then I'll talk you through the process for this. It is fairly straightforward, but as I say, I'm taking my time with it and I'm letting the glue dry in before I go on to the next step. In the kit that you get for the platform edge walls, you also get this as well, and this is going to sit on here, and it will get wrapped round like that. Now, it is tempting to simply go ahead and just slap it on towards the end, but don't. Follow instructions precisely. Now, as you'll notice here, I'm using Yoo-hoo glue, and it's a good idea to try and score this if you've got a scoring tool. And what Justin Noble was using was an old biro pen. Kid you not. There we go. So I'm going to put that bit on like that. Now notice I haven't used laser cut kit glue here, but that's on there. I'm going to let that sit for a few seconds and dry off. Yes, and it's absolutely fine here. And it allows a chance for this now to get fully dried. So you can see there it is the makings of a platform. Whilst I'm waiting on that drying, so I can just show you how to fold it round. These pieces here, there's two ways you can do this. One is to take a sheet of the platform surface and put it on, and depending upon the size you might have an overlap, or you might have to create extra. I'll have to create extra. You then cut it, your sheet would come up to here, so you'd have to cut another little bit to go there. Or you could, if you wanted to, put a piece on there and get another part of sheet 3, put it next to it, and then start to glue the sheet, the surfaces on, so it's one continuous run. And it's that which I'm going to be doing later on in the video when I come to actually make the platform surfaces. And okay, I'm taking a hell of a risk, but I'm going to try it that way and see how it goes. Obviously that's assuming, and as I'm folding this over, that's assuming that this goes right. Now you can see there that we've now got the makings of one part of a platform surface. And you'll do the same for the other side of this. There we go, you'll do the same for the other side of this. Let that dry for a few seconds, or let it start to set in. And I've just been using a cutting mat and a craft knife to cut these off. Please watch your fingers, won't you? And as you'll have detected from the way that I've described this job to you, this is not a job that should be done by juveniles. This is adults only. Now on this sheet somewhere, we can get the other one. On this sheet somewhere, oh, they haven't put it on, that's interesting. I was going to say they would put an arrow on to say what's top and bottom, but incredibly, this is actually going to be my top here. Oh, you can see there the problem immediately, it's not gone in. So what I'm going to do instead is put some laser cut kit glue in there instead, and then put that down instead. So we have now got the makings of a platform. That'll actually sit on there. Not yet, because I've got the other side to do. I'll get the other side cut. What I then have to do with this piece once it's done is let the glue settle in and put laser cut kit glue on all these pieces. Let that, and then this bit will then go on top of there. And that would then be the makings of a platform. Not quite there yet, obviously. So that's what I'm going to do off camera. And whilst I remember, I'll better give some shout outs to people. And so if you could check out Dudley Central on YouTube and Instagram, and if you could also check out, please, Woodhill Parkway. You'll find him here on YouTube, so please give him a check out as well. And if you could also give out my friends in Glasgow, Just the Brave, Glasgow boy band, check out as well. Now they're on Instagram, Just the Brave OFF, all one word. If you give them a check out, please, as well. that's the two platform sections done. And I'll just flip it over so you can see how I've joined them at the bottom with those hooks. And you can see there how they look there. There is a join between the actual walling, but there's a little tip that Justin Noble's done that I'll show you later on how you can resolve that. There is a wee, because this is not even, this surface, they are going like that, so there's a little bit of a hump. I have checked using these. This is from sheet 3 and it looks like it's going to be okay. However, I am still going to go with my gut instinct on this one, and that was my original plan, that I will put the sheets out and I'll stick them on like this and then put another sheet on to it like that before I put the whole lot onto the platforms at the end. I'm going to do it that way because I think it'll look a hell of a lot better. I'm going to build the other two off camera. Another problem that has materialised, however, is that I took the first two sections of the old platforms 1 and 2 off, and there's still some ballast that was stuck to them and to the baseboard still there. So I'll need to apply some water to that and let it soak in and then remove the ballast and hoover up all the loose ballast from there. So I can't put these on the baseboard just yet, but they'll remain over there, and I'll put them just safe and sound there as well, so we know what we're getting there, as it were. Two shout outs that I'll give out right now will be to Pudham Junction, my friend Mike from Pudham Junction. You can check him out here on YouTube, and if you're on Facebook, check out the Scottish Railway Modelers Facebook page. It's a private Facebook page that you'll need to apply to join. Now, speaking of applying to join, by the way, just before I do the next task, this is what these are like, and I haven't actually glued these in, I've just clipped them in. That's all that you need to do. So another two would go in there, see, and we'll get them in the other pack. But as I say, I'm going to leave that as it is, and I'll build the other two off camera, and then I'll let you see the completed section at the end. So that's the 4 straight sections of platform built, and you'll notice that I've got the 4 parts of sheet 3 from the 2 kits on, just to try them out. If you also notice, however, there is a little gap just there. You can just see that at the end. I'm now beginning to swither to the original idea how Justin done it, of doing one piece at a time then sticking it on. So I'm still swithering about that. Of course, the thing is, I can build it this way in one attempt, and if it doesn't go together well in the end, I can always change it back to something else. So it's an experiment, but I have to say, the way that I built them the first time, it was a bit rushed, so I've took my time with this one, and I'll just take, these sheets will have to come off anyway, so I'll just take the 4 sheets off the now. There you go. You can see that's done now. I've still got 2 of these little U-clips spare. That's handy because I've obviously got the ramp to build, the platform end ramp to build, and that's going to be the next job. Now, conveniently, the instructions are on here, as you can see. So that'll be our next task, but even then, once I've got this all built, it won't be ready to go back onto the layout. I'll need to actually leave it for a little bit so I can get a couple other things done. The space is ready for this to go in, but I've now got to go and get the dropper wires all soldered, and that's going to be the next task after we've built the ramp. But anyway, that's what we'll do next. We'll get the ramp built, and once you've actually seen this video, if I could maybe recommend a couple of other layouts for you to go and check out. Barnabas Junction, run by Jason Griffiths, he's done a fantastic job, so you can go and check his layout out, especially if you're actually a fan of them direct rail services, as Jason is, so you'll like his layout. And you can also check out another layout that's on YouTube, and very popular layout, it has to be said, as well, so I'm told, and that is RGJ Trains, so check them out please as well on YouTube. And one non-layout shout out, go onto Twitter and follow rugby union commentator Nick Mullins. You'll find him and Nick Mullins on Twitter. I'm actually on Twitter as well, Clydebridge 47. You can find me on there. And before I start building the ramps, just a little thing I should have stated at the start of the video. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell so you can be notified when I release new videos. I release at least one video per calendar month. That's the old platforms now completely removed. I put water down with a little drop of washing up liquid in to remove the remaining ballast, scrape it up, and then got the vacuum cleaner out and cleaned that all up. A couple of loose bits here, but that's not a big issue because the platforms are not going to be going about this far. There's your sort of limit of the platforms there. The job I'm going to do now is to drill holes here, here and here so I can install the dropper wires that will take the power into the buffer stop ends of the station. Easier to do this, you see, with the platforms up. I'm only going to do platforms 1 and 2. Platform 3 I'll come to do when I end up taking this all up. And it also gives you an indication of the job I'm going to have to do as well here to get that glued down properly. So that's a little trick that I'll sort out probably later this year or early next year. Anyway, going back along here, I'm also going to reinstall the dropper wires on the road into platform 2 and 3 at that point there. This is just a spare scrap piece, and you can also see that we've got a whole lot of space here now where we could install things such as signalling equipment. So there's a lot of things that can be installed here. The one actual challenge that I will face, of course, when I'm drilling these, is to make sure that I drill them properly. That's the first challenge. And the second thing I've got to remember to do is to make sure that I only do one platform at a time. So I'll be starting here and getting the holes drilled there, and then doing here. And they'll all come through this whole shenanigans, as I would call it, before getting clipped onto here. When you're building a layout, be prepared for a lot of wires. That's what I'll say to you. And while I mind, I might also have a go at getting these dropper wires fixed and reinstated as well into the side in here. The track's going to need to get cleaned as well, so I'll get the rail cleaning wagon set up once the platforms are back and installed, because I know these tracks are fine, and start getting the rail cleaning wagon to go down and round on all the tracks too. But that's an off-camera job for later on. Looking further ahead, by the way, just before I go and start this job, I'll just take you over here where the push-pull train's currently sitting. I've come up with an idea for the wall at the station area. It'll be built to the same style as this, of course. And what I'm going to do is install a couple of advertising hoardings further along, because of course platform 1 won't be continuously occupied, so That'll be a scale model scenery purchase. I'll be putting advertising hoardings, maybe just 4 of them. I have measured out using the one I've got them out, and it does fit on there absolutely fine. So it'll be a case of using both a combination of the scale model scenery adverts that are supplied and making my own ones up as well. But that's a job for well into the future. That'll not be done right now. One last thing before I start drilling, I'm going to put a bit of cork down here, just a small bit, because you can see that big drop there. So I'll put a little bit of cork in there. It's just to simply even the platform out a bit for this little drop down, and then it will be good to go. It was a bit frustrating at times trying to do the soldering, but I have got it done. I'll put the power back on just for a minute though. And there we go, you can see they've lit up. I've noticed something on here on platform 5 that I'll have to be very careful of. This might not be a problem once I get the new buffer stops in, however. And that is here. There's not a lot of clearance between a locomotive and on here and the train coming in out of here, so it's just something I'll have to be wary of for the future, but it shouldn't be too much of a problem. I've just noticed that. Well, that's the soldering that I've got done there. I still need to do this one, but I think given the frustrations that I've had today with the soldering, I'm going to leave that for the moment, do that another time. The next thing I'm wanting to do is get the ramp built for the end of the platform, because that'll also allow me to have a little bit of wall along here, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that later on. So that's where we'll go next. We'll go back to the big shed and get on with the ramp. The scale model scenery island platform ramps, product number Lima X-ray 396 Oscar Oscar, is built in exactly the same way as you would do for building the normal platforms. Where there's going to be a difference, of course, is that you'll have a ramp bit there, and in the Tango X-ray 244 Oscar Oscar, or whatever type of platform base wall you order, you'll get in each sheet, or in each pack, you'll have 2 of these, 2 pointing in either direction, and these are going to be used on the actual island platform ramp kit itself. So that's really only the main difference. The other thing to say to you as well is that with me having a dead end terminal station, the scrap bits of these can be used to form the head wall at behind the buffer stops. So they have a good use there. You get 2 in a pack. I actually will only be needing 2 for the layout anyway, because platforms 5 and 6 will have a different arrangement. So I'll only need 1 of these and 1 of these. It's a little bit trickier to build this one, by the way, because you've obviously got the actual ramp bit itself. There's also a spare one of these included in the kit, similar to this, so I'm not sure why that's the case, but anyway, SMS will know what they're doing. Pop them up there for the moment. Handle the instructions, or as Don Sanderson used to call them, the destructions, something I'd actually be good at, are duplicated onto the island platform sections, and it's the same here. The ramp assembly, quite simple. What we've got, we have two sections of ramp, and we'll have two of these holders. That's your flat, that's your angled piece, and that's your flat piece. Let's get underway, shall we? Laser cut kit glue, and I'll also have to off camera yoo-hoo the bits on. Now, the ramp assembly is, it does state on the instructions that they've put the the texture wall on before assembly. Wrapping afterwards, if you're doing a long run, will be easier. I'm going to wrap it afterwards anyway. Make sure once again that your arrows are always pointing at the top. And it's a case of oh, come on, bloody guns. I just cleaned this tea the other day. Right. It was the bottle that's blocked. We're actually getting near the end of this bottle anyway, so always put it into a jam jar with damp tissue on it. And I'll just put that underneath the camera there. I'm going to let it dry though before I attempt to put wrap on it, although I will cut the wrap off beforehand. Which I'm going to do the other thing first. There we go. The one beauty about having two in the kit, if you're only doing a layout with just one island platform, is that if you make a mistake, you can always go back and fix it, or do it with or build a spare one. I suppose this is where the scale model scenery storage fuel tank kit comes into its own, because you can then it comes with the options to make it 1, 2 or 3, and if you're only making 2 storage tanks out of it, it gives you the chance to use the third one to practice on first of all before you tackle it. And that was actually the previous incarnation of the fuel tanks. Now, get that to sit down near the now. Another quick tip that I'll give you as well, it's very important, this piece as well, I'm going to say to you, is that when you come to put these on, always see what way they're going first before you put the wraps on round the sides. Now, a couple of pointers to you. The wraps themselves, you'll need to pierce these little holes here once you've got the wrap on. And this is actually a damaged piece of wrap that I had earlier, so it'll come in useful for that. That's got to dry, so what I'll do off camera is build the pieces that go on onto these parts, get them all cut and done, and then we'll take a look at where we're going to be after that. Now the thing about this part here is I can cut it a little bit longer and turn it round if need be. So if you could bear with me please. That's how it looks on one side. Now I went and actually cut it a little bit more than I needed to, and it hasn't turned out quite right because of the join. But later on, when I do get this on the layout, I'll show you a little trick that Justin Noble showed everybody on how you can actually make it. Although if you've watched Justin Noble's building of this kit, of these two kits, you'll already know. Basically cut a little bit of strip of walling off and then glue it on. A little tip I'll give you as well, just to be sure you know you've got the right side, it's easy to glue them on the wide side, is take this piece and I'll show you underneath. There you go, so that way you know you're gluing the right bits. Glue it that way, it's too long. And just to prove to you further, obviously I'm not going to stick that down yet. I'll leave these to dry, and then I'm going to score or fold them over like that. And that, I'll do the same with that. And you do the same for this piece as well. So it's a pretty simple kit. And I've got the walling to put on the other side there, and as I say, I'll make the other one up as well, because at least that way I've got it ready for when I do platforms 3 and 4 later this year. I'll crack on and get this finished, and even then won't have it on the layout. And after some trials and tribulations, this is the first set of island platforms done. I have to make an admission. When I was building up the first ramp, remember I said I was building 2 of them up, one of them actually got damaged when I was trying to put one of these pieces on. It's damaged beyond repair, unfortunately. So what it means is that Scale Model Senior will be getting another order for 2 ramps from me, but that'll be when I come to replace platforms 3 and 4. The offcuts that you see here from where I've done the, turn this to its side, the walls on the end ramps, well, they'll be useful because they're going to be used for the head walls at the station end. That's what I'm going to do next. To put them on, I'll actually be using laser cut kit glue this time rather than Yoo-Hoo glue, and once that's on and dried and in position, I'll then marry up this platform, and just to see how it looks before I go ahead and glue it down. I'm working with a lot of the stuff so quickly than what I would normally do, because as I film this I'm actually on 2 weeks holiday from work, so it means that I've got a bit more time to do the garden, although it's blowing a gale out there. Who ate all the beans, by the way? And the other thing as well, case in point there, and the other thing as well is that with me not being able to do the garden, I've took some time to do this. So this is going to be a 2-part August update, and I'll tell you what you'll see in the second part of it once this is all in position. So as I say, I'm going to go off camera now, cut this to size, and then install it on the platform head walls, and then I'll get this into position. And I just want to turn it right round. You can see how it's still a little bit flexible. The thing with this is it is going to be a bit awkward to carry it in, and what I might end up doing is gluing it together with laser cut kit glue once I've seen where it goes, see if I'm happy with it. And then there's one more thing that I need to do to hide these joins that you can see. I'll come to that very shortly. I need to get this piece cut first though, and then I'll go and get it onto the head wall, and then I'll show you how that looks. There we go. What I've done is I've used Yoo-Hoo glue to put down the platforms, and I'm weighing them down, and you'll see on here I've managed to get the head walls in place, but notice I haven't done right up to the top. Now the reason for that is next year I'm going to be redoing this concourse so the grey board can go down a bit better, and it'll have a better surface on it as well. That weigh that down. So that's why I've not gone right up there yet. I'll be doing that next year. So some of these bits will be kept spare. Also notice that I haven't went and done the joins there. What I'm going to do with regards to the joins is I'll do that in the next part of this August update when I do the put the platform surfaces on and add the furniture on. It's a very simple trick, and you'll see that in part 2 of this update. That'll be left to weigh down for a couple of days. Whoops, such as some bits where it's already adhering to it. Simply Yoo-hoo glue, and I had to do the same one there. The laser cut kit glue wasn't doing the job, so I've used Yoo-hoo glue there. In the end, of course, some of this will be hidden by ballast anyway, so there's not a big issue there. So that completes this part of the August update. In part 2, as I say, you'll see me making the platform surfaces, and we'll be starting to add the street furniture. And one thing I will tell you right now is I won't be going and just simply cutting the bottoms off these and putting them on. I'll have to order new ones eventually. This one still has the base on it, we did before I dropped it, and you would drill a hole and put that in, and that's partly what's going to happen there. So they've been kept separately now, and I'll have to look at ways to improve the signs. These are now going to go back to back like that. They will be glued down though, and I'll be improving the station signs as well, so I'll be making new station signs too. I'll get them done, and they won't be done like this. Now I'm going to try and get some sort of material, metal, that I can actually put round them and make proper station signs out of them. So I'll be hunting around for that as part of the update as well. So I'll see you in part 2. I hope you've enjoyed this first part. I won't do my best wishes now because we've still got a second part to go, but I'll see you in part 2, and take care of yourselves now. Bye bye.